I've always been a huge fan of high income ETFs, and over the past few years, they have exploded in popularity. Covered call ETFs in particular have become a core holding in many investors' portfolios. If you've been following my channel, you already know the basic formula. Covered call ETFs generate income by selling call options on their holdings. That option premium gets paid out to investors as dividends, often north of 10%. That income stream doesn't just look good on paper, it acts as a cushion. It reduces volatility, provides more stable cash flow, and makes it easier to dollar cost average into dips, especially when dividends are hitting your account every month or even every week. Recently, we have seen a wave of ETFs put their own innovative spin on the traditional covered call strategy, and all with the goal of boosting growth potential or improving risk management while still delivering strong income. And I love seeing ETFs that put a unique twist on the typical high income strategy, because that can potentially give them a long-term edge. But if you don't understand the mechanics behind it, it's very easy to miss these hidden gems. There's one ETF in particular that I covered over a year ago, and it has put a major twist on high income investing that I have never seen used before. It has outperformed almost all of its peers in total returns since inception. But what's even more impressive is how the fund cushioned downside volatility nearly 50% better than its peers during the March market correction, while still capturing the same explosive upside we've seen over the last few months. And the result is that this fund has not only outperformed its high-income peers, but the S&P 500 itself year to date. And really, it only takes a few of those instances to compound and pull a fund significantly ahead of its peers over the long term. What truly sets this fund apart is that it breaks away from the typical option-based strategies we see in most high-yield ETFs, introducing a completely different investing angle, and that is exactly what makes this so compelling. For investors interested in high-income strategies and risk management, this ETF offers an approach worth understanding. And this brings me to BALI, the iShares Advantage Large Cap Income ETF. This ETF is gaining traction among investors, and in my opinion, it is one of those true hidden gems. Its unique strategy can be broken down into 3 specific steps. But first, let's quickly run through the fund's fundamentals. BALI was established in September of 2023 and currently has around $1.2 billion in assets under management. The expense ratio is just 0.35%, in line with the JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs ETFs, and much cheaper than peers like SPYI to hold, which is always a plus for long-term investors. Now, when comparing this ETF, you want to look at high-income ETFs that are based on the S&P 500, since that is essentially what BALI is tracking. And since inception, BALI has significantly outperformed peers like SPYI, returning 71% versus SPYI's 59%, which is a meaningful gap. Compared to GPIX, the Goldman Sachs High Income ETF, which is another very prominent name in this space, the two have matched in total returns. But where I really want to focus is risk management. You see, one of the main goals of a high-income portfolio is to minimize volatility. And most of the time, these ETFs accomplish that by cushioning drawdowns with the additional premium income they collect from selling call options. But BALI is using a few additional steps. And like I said, it only takes a few instances of superior risk management for one to pull ahead. And in my opinion, BALI is the only one with the structural ability to do that. Over the past year, these 3 funds have been neck and neck, but you can clearly see that in the March correction, BALI suffered nearly 30% less downside than GPIX and SPYI, while capturing the same, actually even stronger upward momentum on the recovery. So how does BALI deliver strong total returns while still managing risk? At its core, BALI is a covered call ETF. It sells call options on its underlying holdings, but it's the structure of those holdings that gives it its edge. And speaking of digging into holdings breakdowns, having fast access to the right tools makes all the difference. And that is one of the reasons I have been using Webull for over 5 years now. It's where I keep all of my ETF watch lists and stock picks organized, track market movements in real time, and stay on top of the investments I'm researching and covering on this channel. Right now, Webull is running a promotion where eligible users can receive $20 worth of NVIDIA shares after making an initial deposit of $500. Terms and conditions apply. The platform gives you real-time market monitoring, custom watch lists, advanced charting, and live news, all from desktop or mobile. It puts a lot of information in one place. I personally really like this brokerage. It's super easy to navigate and has great customer support. And for those actively following the market, one topic that has been getting a lot of attention is the changes surrounding the pattern day trader rule, or PDT. Traditionally, active traders with margin accounts have needed at least $25,000 in equity to avoid PDT restrictions. Changes could create more flexibility for some traders, though active trading comes with additional risk and may not be appropriate for everyone. As always, investing and trading involves risk, so always do your own research and make decisions based on your own financial situation. Huge thank you to Webull for sponsoring this segment. Now circling back to BALI. How does BALI deliver strong total returns while still managing risk? Step 1 is concentrated stock selection. BALI has a similar allocation to the S&P 500, but it's far more concentrated, holding less than half the number of stocks. That means the fund runs its own stock selection process, and that is already one reason it could outperform over the long term. A more concentrated portfolio often has greater upside potential simply because it's not being diluted by hundreds of underperforming positions. That's why the QQQ tends to outperform the broader S&P 500, and why ETFs like OEF, which holds only the top 100 S&P 500 stocks, can show stronger growth. Of course, more concentration means more risk, but with BALI, there's a sweet spot. Step 2, and arguably the most important, is the use of S&P 500 futures. When you look at BALI's top holdings, you'll notice something unusual. The largest single allocation isn't a stock or an options contract. It is an S&P 500 futures contract, accounting for around 20% of total assets. Now, a futures contract is fundamentally different from an options contract. To explain this as simply as possible, futures are financial instruments that allow the fund to gain exposure to the S&P 500 with a much smaller upfront capital requirement. In other words, they are leveraged. And so this frees up capital that the fund likely uses to sell more call options, boosting the dividend yield while also helping manage risk. And you can still see the call options the fund is selling when you look at its holdings breakdown. At the time of this recording, there are 4 separate call option contracts, all with different strike prices, each with roughly 150 contracts. Now, you might be asking, well, doesn't buying call options also provide leverage exposure at a lower cost? And the answer is yes. However, options come with extra layers of complexities that futures avoid. For one, options are subject to time decay or theta decay, meaning their value erodes as expiration approaches. But futures don't have that problem. You can hold them through multiple contract periods simply by rolling them forward. Options are also heavily affected by market volatility through a measure called vega. When volatility spikes, option prices rise, making leveraged exposure more expensive. Futures, by contrast, aren't priced based on volatility. Their pricing is cleaner and more directly tied to the underlying index. And the mechanics are simple. You're either short or long. That simplicity is part of why hedge funds use them for efficient market exposure. Of course, futures are leveraged and carry their own set of risks that you have to be aware of. Now, looking at BALI's holdings breakdown, you can see the notional value of those futures contracts is over $320 million. Roughly 20% of the portfolio. But these contracts aren't just long positions. I believe the fund also holds a mix of short futures positions, which can significantly help minimize downside volatility. Simply put, the short positions go up in value when the S&P 500 falls in value, offsetting some of those losses. And that, in my opinion, is the key to the fund's ability to cushion losses the way it did during the March correction. When you look at its price return, which excludes any dividends collected, that is where we can see the fund's ability to mitigate risk. This leads us to the third step, which is quantitative stock selection. The fund states that it seeks to achieve its investment objective by utilizing proprietary return forecast models combined with quantitative analysis methods. In simple terms, the managers aren't passively tracking an index, they are using quantitative tools, likely based on metrics like earnings, valuation, cash flow, dividends, and momentum to identify what they believe are the strongest performing stocks. I'll be honest, this part is intentionally vague. We don't have access to the exact formula. But this model-driven approach helps explain the concentrated portfolio of around 180 stocks, each selected with the aim of outperforming traditional indexes. It is important to note that active stock selection can backfire in certain market cycles, and that is likely why BALI lagged its peers by a small margin in 2025. But in my opinion, that is just short-term noise, and with this type of strategy, The long-term view is what matters most. When you combine a strategically concentrated portfolio guided by proprietary models, efficient S&P 500 exposure via futures, and a high-yield covered call overlay generating around 8% in dividends, you get a fund that is, in my opinion, using its capital extremely efficiently. BALI captures strong upside, maintains consistent income, and historically manages downside risk better than most of its peers. Of course, past performance does not guarantee future results. And that is all for this one. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that thumbs up button for the YouTube algorithm. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye! This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only and is not financial, investment, tax, or legal advice. Discussions of ETFs, investing strategies, market updates, or specific funds are general, not tailored to your financial situation, and should not be relied upon for decision-making. Investing involves significant risks, including total loss of principal, and past performance does not guarantee future results. I am not a registered financial advisor. My content reflects personal research and publicly available information. I may earn affiliate commissions from mentioned products or links disclosed per FTC guidelines, but these do not influence my opinions. Always consult a licensed financial professional and verify information independently. By watching this, you agree I am not liable for any losses or consequences from your actions. International viewers should consult local regulations.